Good morning, everybody. I'm just asking everybody to take your seats or to find a place that you want to stand and take in the event. We'll be starting momentarily. Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for being here. I'm Tom Osborne. I'm the Member of Parliament for Cape Spear, and I'm emceeing the event today. A very special thank you to PAL Aerospace for allowing us to hold the event here in this facility today. It is quite impressive. Let's begin, first of all, by recognizing the significant contributions of our Indigenous peoples and the importance of working together towards reconciliation. We are here this morning on the traditional territories of diverse Indigenous groups, and we acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Beothuk, Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit of this province. The world is becoming more dangerous and divided, and strengthening our defense capabilities is at the forefront of our priorities that have been identified by the Government of Canada during this challenging time. So today we are here to deliver some news regarding 5 local companies that will help achieve those goals. It is my pleasure to welcome my friend and colleague, the Honourable Sean Fraser. He spent yesterday and today here in St. John's. In May of 2025, Sean was sworn in as the Minister of Justice and Attorney General for Canada. He also serves as the Minister responsible for the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, or ACOA, and he is the Member of Parliament for Central Nova in Nova Scotia. Minister Fraser has a strong understanding of the defence sector and recognizes that new investments will help companies grow, innovate, and modernize to meet Canada's evolving security needs. He appreciates the important work undertaken by companies represented here today and their increasing significance as drivers of our regional economy. He is open to listening to and acting on defense-related issues to support meaningful solutions and positive change. And I have to say I'm quite thankful for the work that you're doing, Sean, and the funding announcements, the investments that you're bringing to Atlantic Canada and to our province. So please join me in welcoming Sean Fraser to the podium.
Tear the stage down on my way up here. It's not a good start. Tom, thank you for the kind introduction. Joanne and Paul, wonderful to be here with you, and to our hosts from PAL Aerospace. Thank you for the tour earlier and for the venue today. It's really, just before I get into any intentional remarks here, I just want to reflect on the last day and a half I've had here in St. John's. The optimism and enthusiasm for economic growth in this city right now is infectious. I can tell you, as somebody who comes from small town Nova Scotia, to see Atlantic Canada adopt a can-do culture when it comes to building things here that can solve big problems for the world, it's exactly the kind of thing that we need to spread throughout the region. My whole life, the story of Atlantic Canada was about young people getting educated here, moving away, and maybe come back when they're ready to retire. But right now, when I speak to some of the young entrepreneurs from the area who want to not only create opportunities for themselves, but to create opportunities for others as well, to raise their kids in the same community they come from, it is a breath of fresh air. I think yesterday I had the opportunity to tour Solis's facilities, solving problems that I didn't know existed with technology that I thought was impossible, and deciding that they're going to do it in Newfoundland and Labrador is a very special thing. I think last night I was at the Mel Woodward Cup, celebrating young student entrepreneurs. CoLab, the first winners 10 years ago, every opportunity to take their technology to some of the biggest centers in the world. I'm sure you guys could have cashed in, gone to Silicon Valley had you wanted to. But the idea that you're going to become one of the biggest regional employers in Atlantic Canada, something that, as a fellow Atlantic Canadian, I'm just full of gratitude. This is exactly the kind of company, exactly kind of the business that we need to be celebrating, because there are more out there. And when more of them come out of the woodwork, more of them come out of the woodwork. This self-perpetuating feature of entrepreneurship is something that's just so exciting for the Atlantic region. But this conversation about positivity and enthusiasm for our local economy is taking place in a very particular global context right now. As Tom indicated off the top of his remarks, the world's become a more dangerous place. We've not just seen rapid technological change or trade relationships that we've come to rely upon fall apart, but some of the very norms that we have taken as a given for the last 3/4 of a century have been called into question over the last number of years. We've got a member of the UN Security Council, Russia, sitting in open defiance of the values that underpin the UN Charter. Territorial integrity, sovereignty of nations, the self-determination of peoples. They sit on the Security Council with impunity for the war of aggression that they have launched. The modern threats as technological advances take place create uncertainty for the world that we live in Canada. When it comes to surveillance and intelligence gathering, when it comes to others who are willing to exploit our natural resources, when it comes to cybersecurity, there are threats that we did not know about when I was a kid, when I'd go visit my grandfather, who was a veteran of the Second World War. These are the kinds of threats they could not have imagined during his time in service. One of the lessons that he always shared with me when we'd have the rare opportunity to talk about his time in service was the idea that you no longer need to cross an ocean and fight in a war on the other side of the world to serve the interests of your country at home. There are different ways to serve, and increasingly we need to come to understand that it's not only left to the men and women who wear the uniform to defend Canada's security interests. We have the opportunity as citizens, we have the opportunity as entrepreneurs to advance solutions to some of the great problems that the world is facing. You will all be familiar with the change in posture that Canada has adopted to meet our NATO spending targets over the next few years. This is going to create immense opportunities for Canada and immense economic opportunities for Atlantic Canada in particular. A lot of people don't appreciate this, but we represent about 6.5% of the nation's population, but are home to 20% of the jobs in the aerospace and defense sector. If we start to understand the solutions that companies who don't see themselves as defense contractors today could add, we're going to potentially see billions of dollars in economic growth from companies that are in a dual-use application, where they may have established a solution in a submarine environment, for example, that can be rolled out to serve Canada and its allies' interests when they're actually dealing with not just environmental protections beneath the ocean, but anti-submarine warfare. The applications for some of the technology that is rolling out of this city and our region is absolutely mind-blowing. What I'm so excited about is we're not just identifying these opportunities, but we're actually partnering with the companies who are advancing these solutions. This doesn't happen by accident. It comes with thoughtful engagement with industry to understand the tools that they actually need to scale their solutions in a new context. You will be familiar with the now $81 billion pledge surrounding the Defence Industrial Strategy the Prime Minister announced just a few weeks ago. Today's announcement forms part of that strategy and is an early signal that this is not a strategy that's going to gather dust on a shelf in Ottawa. It's a strategy that's going to be felt in real communities. It's going to help local workers put food on the table. At the same time, we solve major problems for Canada and its allies. In particular, part of the Defence Industrial Strategy includes the Regional Defence Innovation Initiative. This is something that ACOA is running with a nearly $40 million envelope of funds to support high-growth potential firms in Atlantic Canada that can actually develop their technology in a way that meets our security interests. Today, I don't want to spoil the news because my colleague's going to share it, but I just want the companies who are represented here today to know how much we appreciate what you're doing. You're serving the interests not only of your company, not only of the city, not only of this province, but the entire Federation. The future of Canada's security interests depends on partners like you, and I just want to say on behalf of the Government of Canada, thank you for the work that we're going to do in the years ahead. With that in mind, folks, we've got the local MP for St. John's East, the Federal Minister of Fisheries and Oceans, and now just Fisheries, my friend and colleague, Joanne Thompson. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, and I'd like to welcome you to the microphone to share the good news.
Good And thank you, Minister Fraser. Sean, it is always a pleasure to have you in Newfoundland and Labrador, and I know you're no stranger to the province and to the city. And I think Minister Fraser certainly laid out what this moment means for Canada's defence capacity and why Newfoundland and Labrador is so important. Canada is choosing strength. It's choosing to invest in communities and companies that support a collective strength. And here in Newfoundland and Labrador, we know exactly what that looks like. Canada's security depends on industrial strength, and that strength must be built somewhere by someone. Newfoundland and Labrador's strengths are rooted in communities that have been doing difficult work in harsh environments for a long time. In marine service, aerospace, advanced manufacturing, tech, AI, the expertise is there and it has been built over generations. Newfoundland and Labrador's workers, engineers, tradespeople, and researchers don't need to develop these capabilities. They already have them, and today recognizes that. Defense and security investments support good jobs, they help families, and they build the futures where people have grown up. And that's why we're here today. Today, we are announcing $16 million through the Regional Defense Investment Strategy to support 5 projects right here in St. John's and the surrounding region. These projects help local businesses develop and scale made in Newfoundland and Labrador defense technologies, turning new ideas into tools that are tested, built, and ready to use. Today, they drive research and innovation, strengthen Canada's supply chain, and strengthen the critical resources our defense sector depends on. And they reflect what Atlantic Canada's defense and security sector is: capable, diverse, and ready to deliver. The projects announced today are expected to support 115 skilled, highly skilled jobs. PAL, Virtual Marine, Solus Power, Colab, and Rudder. These are Newfoundland and Labrador companies that are building what Canada needs. What Newfoundland and Labrador brings to Canada's defense sector is not a surprise to anyone who lives here. A stronger Newfoundland and Labrador means a stronger Canada. Thank you to our partners, companies, workers, community leaders who have made our province such a wonderful place to live in. This is what Canada Strong looks like. I am so pleased to be here, and it's also my pleasure now to invite Calvin Ash, CEO of PAL Group of Companies, to come forward and say a few words. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of PAL Aerospace and the entire PAL family of companies, I'd like to warmly welcome all of our guests here today. Our federal and provincial representatives, ACOA staff, and our partners from the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. I'd also sincerely like to thank Honourable Minister Thompson, Honourable Minister Fraser, MP Osborne, and MP Connors for your continued support for the aerospace and defence sectors in Atlantic Canada and in Newfoundland and Labrador in particular. It is especially fitting to see such a strong and visible presence here today from DFO, from the Minister to the fisheries officers in the room, and to the aircraft that we're able to point to as an example of the kind of program we can deliver when we all work together. For those who may not be familiar with our history, almost 40 years ago, DFO placed its trust in PAL to provide intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance services in support of fisheries enforcement and marine patrols as Canada retired its Grumman tracker fleet. That early vote of confidence mattered. It was rooted in a belief that Canadian industry could deliver world-class aerospace solutions right here at home, tailored to Canada's needs and aligned to Canadian priorities. Through that trust, we've been able to evolve our program alongside DFO's objectives, now delivering long-range, highly capable operations that serve Canada while also supporting international missions. This partnership has allowed us to develop expertise locally and export it globally, supporting active operations today in the Dutch Caribbean, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom. None of that happens without policy that trusts Canadian companies to deliver for Canadians. For that belief and for that confidence, we are deeply thankful to DFO and the Government of Canada. With that in mind, on behalf of PAL and the other successful companies being recognized today, I want to be very clear. Canadian industry is ready, willing, and more than able to deliver for the next generation as well. Today's ACOA investment will support the commercialization of Dash 8-400 airframes into P-4 multi-mission aircraft, the next generation of turboprop ISR capability. As a platform specifically designed to address Canada's identified capability gaps in the North and the Arctic, the P-4 is a rapidly deployable, made-in-Canada solution. This aircraft would immediately provide much-needed capability across ISR, search and rescue, environmental monitoring, disaster response, and logistical support, all areas of growing importance to Canada. The solution, developed in close consultation with the Royal Canadian Air Force, the P-4 program will provide significant new employment here in St. John's and across the country, while also opening the door to meaningful international opportunities, which in turn drive new expertise and innovation, which strengthens our capabilities here in Canada. PAL's history shows that when government places its confidence in us, we turn that confidence into real service, real domestic capacity, and real opportunity. So we know firsthand that today's announcement isn't just about today, it's about a confidence that companies here in Newfoundland and Labrador can continue to turn opportunities into lasting growth. We're optimistic about the future, and we know we can deliver. We look forward to continuing to work closely with ACOA and our government as we build regional capacity together. Thank you once again, Minister Fraser, Minister Thompson, and MP Osborne and Connors, and all of our distinguished guests here today. We truly appreciate you joining us, and we're excited for what lies ahead. I'll ask MP Osborne to return for closing remarks. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Calvin. I think it's fair to say that anybody who knows what PAL is doing in the city, or in the country for that matter, are impressed. Before I conclude with the closing remarks, I just want to touch on something that Minister Fraser said yesterday when we had visited one of the companies that are here today, that he was quite impressed and had no idea of some of the technology and what's available here in Newfoundland and Labrador. There's many dual purpose or dual use technologies. Canadian companies and Newfoundland and Labrador companies are operating globally, and that can be adapted to what we're doing in national defence today. I'm quite excited about the what we have to offer in this province. So again, thanks, Calvin. It's great to hear from local companies who are doing such important work in making significant contributions to our communities and our economy here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And through targeted investments and strategic support, our new government is helping Atlantic Canadian businesses build capacity, strengthen supply chains and resilience, and compete in global markets, advancing both economic growth and Canada's defence priorities. Again, thank you for being here today, and we'll now conclude the announcement portion of today's events and begin a moderated question and answer period with the media. Give them a moment to set up. Thanks again.